Welcome to the Power of Local podcast, where we discuss all things local business, and we are always vocal for local. Welcome to the Power of Local podcast. I'm Rebecca Melanson, co-founder of the Local Business Institute, and this is my partner, Vicki Valdez, co-founder of the Local Business Institute. And we're here today to discuss sort of all things local business. But the focus today is managing uncertainty. It's a big, scary thing. And how do you do that? Because uncertainty enters all of our lives on all of our levels all the time. But sometimes it's difficult to manage. And we're going to look at it from the perspective purely of a small business owner, because that's you, that's our audience. And that's who we're talking about, and to, and for. But it's something that hits every single one of us all the time. And we were just discussing it and realized, right, just when you think everything is smooth and calm, and you have all the systems are working and all the employees are working and everything is going along great, bang, something happens that sort of drops you in this uncertainty zone. Like, what do you do? And maybe it's not something that is complete, in that it isn't something that happened, but it's happening. And that's the uncertainty part. If you see, a car rolls into your front window, well, it creates a bit of a crisis, but it's already happened. And then you just have to deal with it. The thing we're talking about today is managing uncertainty. So it hasn't happened, you don't know, but you can see it on the horizon and you can think it's coming, and what is it and what do you do about it? And how do you manage that? So what kind of things can cause this? What do you think, Vicki?
Number of things, but the way you started this conversation off about you're going in one direction and then bam, something happens to you, and it could be something internal, it could be something external. It's not always just internal or external. There's a lot of different ways that uncertainty impacts us. But I got to tell you, with all the things that are moving so fast around us, uncertainty is something that is in our daily lives. And the quicker we can learn how to move through it, the better that we're going to all be, because it's a fact of life these days.
It is what it is, right? And it happens. And to me, the uncertainty part is something that you can't control. That's what makes it uncertain, right? If you could control it, it wouldn't be uncertain because you've already fixed it.
Right.
But something that you can't control, it could be something personal. I know a lot of people end up like taking care of their parents, right? You have a business, but you have to take care of your parents. And that creates a lot of uncertainty because you don't really know where that's going. It could be something national. The pandemic was certainly an uncertainty. Right. Remember when we all thought it was going to be 3 weeks long? And then
we were told it was going to be 3 weeks and we believed it. And now look how long it's been. Well, we survived. I mean, we all,
believe it.
as business owners, we all got, we learned from each other. We figured out what to do next. And a lot did survive. Some didn't, but a lot of them did survive and are still here today.
Absolutely. But talk about uncertainty. I mean, no one has ever experienced a pandemic before. So how does this work and what happens? Nobody knew. So that's a perfect example of an uncertainty that you have to deal with. I hope for everybody listening that you never have an uncertainty that big again in your career. But, could happen. But there's smaller uncertainties too. And some of them are things that happen around you. That your community decides to do street repairs right in front of your business and let you know it's going to take 6 months.
We see that happen so often, so often.
Exactly. And you didn't cause it. You can't control it. You can't change it. And we all know that with all due respect, they might say 6 months, but things happen and it lasts longer than that. So it's an uncertainty. So, if we're looking at uncertainty of things that you can't control, but that affect your business in one way or another, or you, because you are your business. So what do you do about that?
You know, a couple things that you could do though, if you think about it, is first is don't overreact. Don't go into a panic. Don't get into, I need to solve. We as entrepreneurs always think we need to fix something immediately. And sometimes
We
we can't.
do.
We can't, we do. I mean, that's our nature. We want it, it's brought before us, but that's why we're entrepreneurs, because we're resilient, we make
Mhm.
decisions, we do what we need to do, and that's why we're successful. But if you just give it a minute, pause and don't overreact, because if you react, everybody else that's around you, everybody else that works with you is going to react like you react. So if you have a very straightforward approach to reacting to something more so than a panic, that helps you and the business to begin with.
I think that's called leadership, even when you may
That
not be feeling it, right? But I want to
that
reinforce something because I learned this from you, Vicky. One of my favorite lines is give it a minute. It's
minute.
so appropriate in so many situations when you want to do an immediate knee-jerk reaction, right? I got to fix this.
There you
Or
go. Knee-jerk reaction. That's it. Yeah. No.
but that give it a minute. I've used
Mhm.
that so many times because, as you know, before I learned that from you, I didn't give it a minute very often. Uh, but it's very helpful. And then during that minute, right? If I think if you sit down and say, okay, where could this go? Try and bring your analytical mind into the picture and say, what could happen? The whole range from, absolutely nothing to the worst case scenario. Um, where could it go? Where is it likely to go? And what can I do? Like it, what possible things can I do? And then from that list, pick what should you do. So, what can you do? And then what should you
This
do?
is what should you do. And when you have that list, Rebecca, because that's great, great advice, and that, of course, give it a minute, but then start looking at what is really the issue. And when you really look to see what the issue is that's impacting you from your in your business, it may be that you can come up with some ideas on how to move through it, progress through it, or maybe you
Yep.
seek out some help from other people as well, other business owners. We as business owners always think that it's only happening to us. We always feel isolated sometimes, and don't we always think that? We think it's
That's so
only
true.
happening to us. And it doesn't just happen to us. So even just asking another business that may be another business owner that you're close to, or maybe another group in town, so that you could maybe bring that to their attention. And even then, like you mentioned, the streets being torn up and in front of go talk to your council member, go talk to someone who knows, can give you the real story of how long it's going to be, and then who the contact is to help you get through that.
And what can you do? Maybe some additional signage. Maybe you can talk to a neighboring business about temporarily using their parking lot. There are a lot of things that when you bring that
Great
logical
idea.
mind to the table, right,
Hmm.
you can think through. I think one of the problems is as entrepreneurs, like you say, and we all want to fix everything and make it right and make it good. Um, it's sometimes very hard to keep fear at bay, right? Because you see a
That's so
situation
true.
unfolding and your brain is just going,
You're like, oh
well,
my.
we'll never survive this. To to stop yourself from going there and stepping back from that fear so that you can think logically and speak logically to your team makes all the difference. And of course, that's easier said than done, right? It sounds so simple, like just step back from that fear. Just take a giant step back. And when you're in that place, though, your response is like, yeah, right. Meanwhile, every cell in my body is going berserk. Um, but you have to manage your fear sometimes in situations and focus on what you can do and not as much of what's happening to you. And I know I've had businesses talk to me recently, current events, about the possible tariffs. And one of the things that makes that uncertainty is because it's uncertain, that we don't know where it's going. But again,
Or if
sometimes
it's going to go anywhere at all.
at
We don't
all,
know.
or if it's going to affect you, it'll
And
affect
right.
some and not others. And so that's a true case of give it a minute.
Give it a minute.
Just give it a
And
minute.
get the facts. Get the facts before.
Absolutely.
Because you know, and how long is it going to be? Just in any situation that's uncertain, but uncertainty is part of our daily lives, Rebecca. Whether it be
Part of the
personal
process.
or it's part of the process. And the quicker that we can, I mean, quicker, the more comfortable we are in going through that process of something that's uncertain that's brought to our attention that we have to deal with, the calmer we are, the better off we are. But like you said, that's easier said than done.
It is easier. So I used to, the first time I became a publisher, I was in uncertainty a lot because I didn't know what I was doing and I was trying to figure it out. And I remember for me, a tool I use is visualization, right? If I
Absolutely.
visualize something, for a lot of people, it's visualize sitting on a beach, something calming, right? For me, and this harkens back to what you said about entrepreneurs always wanting to be in control. My visualization was being in a canoe on rapids in a river. And so it was not a calming situation, it was a control situation. And it is just stay calm, stay focused. You know how to work your oars, look at what's in front of you and you can see a little bit of what's coming. You don't know what's beyond that. So you don't really know where it's going. Um, but there were lots of times where I had to stop and say, my hands are on the oars, the boat is still in the water. I can navigate this. And
Got this. Yeah.
it got me through some tough times and kept me from panicking because we all know that panicking in a boat is a really bad idea.
Oh no.
And whatever works for you, but find a way to calm that panic, do some analysis, look at the situation, as you said, find the facts, work with whatever facts you can find. Because it's uncertainty, you won't have all the facts, but you'll
You
have
won't.
some that you can move forward with. Look at what you could possibly do. That's a good brainstorming opportunity with your team. They'll think of things that you might not think of. And it empowers them because it involves them in reigning control over things.
So
And
true. Bring in others to help you with the decisions you need to make.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
And if you know other business owners who have dealt with the same thing, if their street has been torn up 2 years ago, go talk to them.
To them.
You're still here. How did you survive this? What did you do? We're, as entrepreneurs, we're an incredibly resilient and creative group of people. So lots of other people will have ideas. And I think at the end of the day, when all else fails, go get a margarita. There's our
Well,
official advice, right? Analyze, look at what you could do, look at what you should do, and go have a margarita. I think that works. Don't you? I mean, that seems like good business advice. So that's hopefully whatever uncertainties float by you, that they aren't too terrible, but they're coming. They always do.
Always do. That's the only given that we have in the future is uncertainty, Rebecca.
Yep. And change.
And change.
Always change. So you might as well embrace it, right? There's a
Hmm.
to run from it or hide from it or, lose yourself in it. Just embrace it and see if you can help that situation, whatever it is, make you better. So there you go. That's it for today. We're glad you joined us on the Power of Local podcast. We do this frequently, so check back in. And remember, we are always, always, always vocal for local, and hope that you are too. Thank you for joining us today for the Power of Local podcast, where we encourage you to always be vocal for local. See you next time.